Hello and welcome to Dingoes Ate My Podcast, Episode 3. This time we're talking about Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Episode 4, Teacher's Pet. I'm Paul.
I'm Dave.
And Justin.
Alright, so this episode originally aired on March 24th, 1997, to an original viewership of 3 million people. In this episode, Dr. Gregory is killed by an unseen monster which shows only a pair of large eyes and an insect-like limb. It's a praying mantis, by the way.
Yeah, they should do their homework.
It's a giant killer praying mantis. Spoilers! The next day, Buffy is alarmed by news of Dr. Gregory's disappearance, but the boys in her class are more interested in the beautiful substitute teacher, Natalie French, who seems to have a fixation on insects, especially the praying mantis. Miss French suggests making monoleg sacks for the upcoming science fair and asks the class for help. She selects Blaine as her lab partner for the day, to be followed by Xander the next day. That immediately should give warning signs, but nobody picks up on them, because they're all idiots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cordelia finds the headless body of Dr. Gregory inside a cafeteria refrigerator, which leads to a very good scene where Cordelia gets crisis counseling.
Yeah.
That night, Buffy goes to the park and confronts a vampire who has a large claw in the place of his right hand. They fight, but are interrupted by the police, and the vampire escapes. It encounters Miss French while she is walking home with groceries, and the vampire flees in terror, indicating that Miss French is not human. The next day, Buffy is late for her biology class, and is horrified to watch as Miss French seems to sense somebody at the door, and does like the Exorcist head spin.
Yeah.
After class, Miss French claims to have left supplies at home, and asks Sandra to come over to her house that evening to work on the egg sack project there instead. Which, for some reason, doesn't send up red flags for Xander, because, again, he's an idiot.
Apparently, even when Buffy tried to warn him.
Back in the library, Buffy realizes that Blaine never returned home from helping Miss French. Giles recalls a creature known as the she-mantis, or the virgin thief, which preys on virgin males to fertilize its young. That night, Xander arrives at Mrs. French's house to find her wearing a tight dress and acting in a sexually suggestive manner. She offers him a drink, which he takes, and then collapses, because he's an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
She turns into her mantis form and takes his body to a cage in the basement, where he wakes up next to Blaine. I feel sorry for Xander.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Willow calls Xander's mother to find out he is not home. The Scoobies then go to the house where Mrs. French supposedly lives, but find a retired teacher there whose name the mantis has stolen. Desperate to find the real house before it's too late, Buffy tracks down the one-handed vampire and forces him to locate the correct house. Buffy breaks through the window just as Miss French, now in mantis form, is about to mate with Xander.
Yeah.
She burns the monster with insect repellent while the others free Xander and Blaine. Giles and Buffy, using the recorded bat sonar, after a little bit of an issue, send it into convulsions so Buffy can hack it to death with the machete, and somehow not see any blood. The next day, Buffy sadly puts Dr. Gregory's glasses back in his closet, not noticing that a sack of she-mantis eggs is attached to the bottom of a shelf, and one begins to hatch as credits roll.
That's setting up for another episode, probably.
Bleh.
Eventually, with more mantises.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. I don't know.
I will answer that question at the end of this episode.
Okay. Somehow it'll never be brought up again.
So, very quickly, we have, at the very beginning, we have Xander's little fantasy sequence.
Yes.
Which is just great.
I was kind of a bit more like, he's dreaming. He's dreaming. He's dreaming.
Like, what is this?
Oh, look, he's dreaming.
I love it where he saves Buffy and then punches the vampire in the face, and then it's broken hand and still goes up and plays a guitar solo.
Hey,
and that's not even the fact that I'm not sure if it was a coin or his guitar pick that he flicks it down on the table and hits the vampire again with it.
Yes.
And I'm just like, really? Really? Someone wake this Xander up now. And then he finally wakes up and is like, finally.
So, Xander finally comes back. I was going to say snaps back to reality, but then...
Well, there goes gravity.
That joke will never get old.
If only.
So we go to... They're in class, and Buffy didn't do the reading for her biology class.
You should.
And Willow is trying to give her hints.
Yeah, it helps with the one, but sadly the other one's a little bit harder.
So
I suppose you could just go, like, point at the nose, or...
Dr. Gregory asks her the 2 ways that ants communicate, and she gets touch, because Willow does a fairly good job at that.
Yeah.
She does not get smell, though.
Nah.
She thinks it's B.O.
Well, it's the same sort of thing. You smell those particular pheromones and whatnot, but yeah.
So yes.
But she wasn't the one sleeping in class.
Very true.
Well, this is true, but it's Xander. I mean, nobody really expects anything from Xander.
She paid attention to Xander sleeping.
So I have a quick note here that says, "Oh great, a teacher that likes Buffy. This isn't going to end well for him."
He's very sad.
Well, quickly, not gonna end well.
He understands with the particular things and is somewhat decent. It's like, yay, the teacher that's on Buffy's side. Then the thing happens, and it was like, oh.
Yeah, so he gets killed by a praying mantis pretty quickly, and he is the first staff member of Sunnydale High to die, and he will not be the last.
I would be surprised if that was the case, or wasn't the case if he was the only one to die.
He is the first employee of Sunnydale High School to be killed.
And mark on the list.
There, a natural death.
Well, this episode, yeah, we actually have somebody die in this episode. I don't know, yeah. But yes, a lot of more teachers will die.
Oh dear.
A lot more. I love, Willow has this great line where she's like, Dr. Gregory is great. He's one of the only teachers that doesn't think Buffy's a felon. So when they finally meet Natalie French, Xander gets all nervous and then he has this really great line after she walks away. And he's like, "It's funny how the earth never opens up and swallows you when you want it to." Oh, okay. So we're in class with Natalie French teaching about the praying mantis. And she says this thing about like how they're cannibals and they eat their mates. And I'm like, no. That's only been observed in lab environments, never in nature. So, fuck you, television. You lied to me. How dare you?
Maybe this mantis does.
Yeah.
Maybe her mates in this case, she does eat.
Yeah, but,
so
like, actual praying mantises, that's not a real thing in nature.
Well, not one that's...
Not that we've observed, at least.
Observed within nature.
Yes. So, Buffy's told she has to go to crisis counseling after seeing the dead body of Dr. Gregory.
By one heck of a very determined teacher.
But I don't
That's
need
the
to
principle.
go to counseling. Oh. I really need to go to class.
Don't say decapitation, don't say death. In fact, stay away from all D words.
Damn it.
You need time to heal. You need time to heal. But heal! You need to heal!
I love how he's like, yeah, and then everything gets... what's the line? Shit. He's like, you have to deal with your emotions and get it out there. Otherwise, powerful laxatives are involved. And I'm like, what does he think emotions are? And then we get a snippet of Cordelia in crisis counseling.
She doesn't sound like she had that much of a crisis either.
He's like, wait, the opportunity for a particular person to listening to my ramblings as well as write it down for a particular thing? Sign me the flip up!
It's like she doesn't even mind the fact that there was a dead teacher.
I love how she's like, I'm not saying we should kill a teacher every day so I can lose weight. I'm just saying we have to look on the bright side.
At least she's optimistic about it? I don't know.
She's looking at the positives.
Yeah, what the hell?
So, Xander goes to talk to Miss French. She ends up saying, like, oh no, I forgot the supplies at home. And then she enjoys a nice cricket sandwich.
Yeah,
which is fine. It's what she eats.
It's not okay.
Yeah, it's okay for her, because she's not human.
Because she's a giant praying mantis.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So, there's a moment where Willow is hacking in to get some information, and Giles is like, so this whole internet thing where you're getting information is totally legal, right? And they're both, and Willow and Buffy are just like, yeah, of course. It's like, wasn't here, didn't see you, couldn't have stopped you.
Yes.
So Xander goes to Natalie French's place, and he gulps a martini.
Yeah,
I don't think
that's
he
not
knows how to
exactly
drink
smooth.
martini. I won't think it was.
And then,
martini in
like,
the first place.
he's slowly losing consciousness, and he's like, "Your hands are really serrated." Which is just like right because he's like finally seeing her mantis arms and stuff. And
You're forgetting the part where Buffy tries to confront Xander about.
Oh yes, teacher.
Oh god. Yeah, so there's a couple of scenes where she's trying to like, Xander, you're an idiot.
Just to warn him to get him away from her, but he's all like, "No, I get it. You're just jealous."
Yeah, and then there's the scene where they're in the cafeteria, and Xander's like, "You just don't get it. Why an older woman would be interested in someone like me?" And she's like, they're basically, Buffy and Will are basically both just like, "No, Xander, you're an idiot."
No,
That's pretty
much.
great.
Mm-hmm.
Willow has a great line when they're talking about Xander being decapitated, and she's like, "But I like Xander's head."
And then when Giles mentioned that the she-mantis only goes after virgins, and Buffy's like, well, maybe there's a chance that Will just finds out, like, oh god, Xander's gonna die!
There's a great moment where Buffy's like, "Okay, so Giles, I need you to get a recording of bat sonar. Don't worry, it's dark and musty, you'll feel right at home even though there's no books."
Yes.
I have a fun fact for this episode, actually. So we go to a scene where we see the real Mrs. French.
Yes.
Now, the actress who plays her is not terribly famous.
No.
Her name is Jean, and I hope I pronounced this correctly, Spiegel Howard. Do you have any idea who she might be related to
No.
with that last name?
Spiegel Howard?
Spiegel is a middle name, Howard's the last name.
Oh, Howard. Yeah, it's kind of broad. I'm not too sure.
Okay, she is the mother of writer, director, actor Ron Howard. Do you know who Ron Howard is?
The name's familiar.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ron Howard would probably be most famous as an actor for playing, he was in Happy Days. He played, I forget what his name is. He was also on the Andy Griffith Show where he played Opie. And he's also a director. He made movies, I want to say Apollo 13. He's made a bunch of like really famous movies. He was also a producer on Arrested Development and the narrator for Arrested Development.
Interesting.
The name is familiar, but yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And her husband would also later have a role in Angel for an episode. So Buffy hacks up the she-mantis after paralyzing it with bat sonar, even though Giles put the tape in the wrong way. And Giles, I love how Giles is like recording himself with his thoughts on like the Dewey Decimal System.
It's like, what the hell is this?
Turn the tape round!
That's great. So after
Freaking Walkmans or whatever.
So after the she-mantis is dealt with and the day is saved, we see Buffy at the bronze and Angel approaches. And they have a short conversation, and she's like, well, it'd be helpful if I could get in contact with you. And he's like, no, I'll just be around. And then she's like, oh, you can have your jacket back. And he's like, no, it looks better on you. And I have the note that says, you should never start a relationship with a lie.
Yeah.
And then at the last moment of the episode, as Buffy puts away Dr. Gregory's glasses, we pan down to see, oh no, there be no more eggs there!
Oh no!
And it's hatching.
And that's where credits roll. Now, who was your favorite character in this episode? Let's start with Justin.
I'll have to vote Xander.
Xander's pretty amazing.
This was an enjoyable episode, just to see how idiotic he could be.
Okay, David?
In my case, Xander was a little bit kind of, oh god, this cringe and this stupidity. In my case, honestly, it was Willow. Just seeing all of her reactions and just that one scene with Xander being a virgin and Buffy just like, oh, I'm sure Xander was, oh god, he's gonna die!
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Willow on this. Willow, personal bias is my favorite character, and this is like part of the reason. So, about those eggs that were hatching at the end of the episode.
Yeah, it's only going to set for a new episode down the road, maybe.
Are we going to get an answer of her importance?
take a guess. Is this gonna come up again, or is it gonna be dropped like a hot potato?
I wouldn't be surprised if they drop it like a hot potato.
So you're saying dropped? What are you saying, Justin?
It might come up, but maybe not for a feature episode? I don't know.
It's gonna be dropped like hot potato.
Okay.
It's never coming back.
That is so stupid.
It's just going to be a case of, oh my gosh, the eggs are hacking. Adding on to the additional bit of the episode. The egg hatched, but the thing inside isn't actually living, and it just kind of perishes
It
on the
hatched
ground.
and died immediately.
Oh, they're not even gonna bother with that.
Yeah, no.
They're just never gonna mention it
I'm
again.
just writing it for them.
It's just kind of a case of janitor comes in, sees that sort of thing, sees them, and it's like, ugh, stupid kids hiding their weird scientific
The janitor
stuff.
cleans it up.
Yep, sure.
The
Why
end.
not? Alright, so did either of you have any thoughts to add?
I think it was just the comment that Xander said after he was saved, just telling Buffy, you were totally right, I was an idiot, thank you for saving my life.
It's like, yeah, okay. Maybe you should listen to Buffy from now on.
Yeah.
He'll probably not learn his lesson too well anyway.
At least he was decently smart, picked up the machete after Buffy and went to town on the eggs.
Alright. So next week, the next episode we'll be covering is Never Kill a Boy on the First Date, which just seems like good life advice. However, in this episode, with Buffy preoccupied by her date with Owen, who we haven't met yet,
Blech.
Giles is trapped by a group of vampires seeking to raise a powerful leader. Dun dun dun!
Oh no.
Oh no!
Apparently there was also a vampire in this episode too.
Oh, that's right. The simple fact to additionally assist with the fact that the teacher is not a great thing with the vampire
And
running up.
apparently vampires are afraid of praying mantises.
Well, because I think it's because it's a more powerful, like, demon thing.
True, since vampires are part demon.
Yeah, they're half demon.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that sort of thing.
Didn't you pay attention in the pilot?
But it's a bug.
It is
inside bug with crazy demonic powers of weirdness in the god head.
Alrighty, so we're gonna do something a little different every so often, I think. So I'm gonna give you guys the chance to ask me any questions you might have about what's gonna happen in the series. Keeping in mind, I'm not gonna give away major spoilers. So if you have any questions, now would be the time.
How long, with sort of an idea of how many episodes within the seasons, how long is it going to be before Buffy actually gets somewhat of a decent fighting style from what you complained about in the first 2 episodes?
The fight sequences will get significantly better in season 2.
So somewhere around the lines of 20 to 25-ish episodes.
No, like,
No, that's-
season 1 is only 12 episodes.
Yeah.
Okay, so a
So
bit more
10
around
episodes.
15-ish.
Yeah, by season 2, they have more money, they have a better budget, they have more time.
Meh.
So they're able to do more with the fight scenes. They probably peak around season 4 or 5, but they will get better in season 2. Anything else for either of you?
What other demon should we expect next?
Oh, well, in future season 1 episodes, we're going to meet Moloch, who is a demon that will be, well, let loose on the internet.
Okay. I'm pretty sure that's gonna be interesting.
He will also eventually possess a robot body, but don't worry about that. We're going to have to deal with the Master at some point.
Right, because that was in the pilot, sort of.
Yes, so we will have to deal with that. There's going to be a bunch of students who are going to get cursed by basically like a demonic hyena.
A hyena.
We're going to deal with a killer puppet.
Oh, okay then.
We're going to deal with a literal invisible girl. And everybody's going to have some nightmares.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Alright.
And at the end of the season, we're going to have to deal with the Master
Alright.
in his lair.
Oh, I already dealt with a witch and a praying mantis and some vampires.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Alrighty, anything else from either of you?
I think that's all for now.
Yeah.
Alrighty, that's going to be it for this week. I'm Paul.
I'm Dave.
And Justin.